Hi, everyone. This is Linda Karressy from Insight Financial Group, also with Partech Consulting, who hosted their previous webinar on February 15th. I wanted to create a special video regarding wave accounting. We discussed this at the end of the presentation. One of the things that we discuss is utilizing an accounting software, and it looks like many of you are going to sign up with Wave, which is fine, which I think is a good option since you're just starting off. I think it's a good starting point. So, this video is just to give you an overview of Wave. What I did, I enter a couple transactions, and so we can look at some reports. And then also, I'll just explain the menu. So, when you actually, if you decide to use Wave, you have an overview of how it works. So, you will go to Wave. Here in the address bar, you'll go to waveapps.com and you will create a free account. And when you create that free account, make sure you sign up with an email that you're going to regularly use, and then also remember the password. Wave is going to ask you a couple questions about the organization. It is just to allow them to actually help you create your chart of accounts. So, also get some background on what businesses and organizations are signing up with Wave. So, there's no right or wrong answer. Just go through the questions. I think it should take about 5 minutes. And then, what you're going to do, you're going to connect your bank account and the credit card. And I'm here at the dashboard. And when you go to the dashboard icon is here on the left-hand side. And you're going to connect the nonprofit business, the nonprofit checking account and the savings account and the credit card. So, whatever accounts associated with your organization, you're going to connect. And what that means is once you hit connect, Wave is going to ask you the name of the institution. So if it's Chase, Fifth Third Bank, and then you're going to have to provide the login information. So also probably another good idea before you sign up with Wave, make sure you have your bank login information ready. So you'll go through those steps. And what you want to do, if you want to import transactions as of January 1st, 2002, you need to tell Wave that. I would suggest, so this recording is February 18, 2022. I suggest you actually tell Wave, I want to import transactions from January 1st to 2022. So be really careful when it asks you what transactions, what time frame do you want to import the transactions, because you can import 2020, 2020, 2021. If you want to do that, fine, but I suggest, to keep your life simple, go ahead and just say January 1st, 2022. And then when those transactions are imported, you're going to go to transactions. So here on the left-hand side, under accounting, you have transactions, you have reconciliation, and chart of accounts. The transaction section is where the bank and credit card transactions are going to come through. Reconciliation, this is where you're going to reconcile those accounts at the end of the month. And then chart of accounts is where you can see the accounts that are listed in Wave. This is also where you can actually make an account inactive or actually create an account. So let's go to transactions. So we're here in the transaction section. First thing I want to point out, here in the drop box, if you have multiple banking accounts or credit cards, those accounts are going to be listed here. So just for this example, I've just called everything cash on hand. But if you have a Chase checking account, you have a Chase savings, and then you have a credit card, those accounts are going to be listed here. So make sure, depending on how you want to see the view, if you select all accounts, this section here is going to list all the accounts for each account. If you just want to just see one account at a time, you have to select that account, and this section is only going to show the transactions for that particular account. So this section here, these are transactions that are going to come from your bank. So if you go to Staples and you purchase a computer, that bank transaction is going to flow right into this section here. You can also add transactions manually if you want to do that. You can add income, which would be grants, let's see, donations. It can be if you're going to put personal funds into the account. Also, you can add expense. However, if you're using the bank feeds, you would not have to use these two. But I just wanted to point these out that you can add transactions manually. So you want to make sure that you click on the right button. If it's income, which is cash coming in, or an expense, this is going cash going out. Here, this is where you can add a journal transaction. I recommend that only an accounting professional adds a journal transaction. You can also connect a bank account and you can also upload your bank statement. So let's go to this section here. So once again, this is transaction section. This is the transactions that are coming from the bank or credit card. So once again, depending on which account you're looking at, it can be for all accounts or it can just be for individual accounts. So we're just going to look at cash on hand account here. So it has the date. So the date here is usually the date that it cleared the bank. The description. So the description, when a transaction comes from the bank, sometimes it looks a little bit weird. So for instance, I've labeled this transaction income and I've said this is a CICF grant. But coming from the bank, it may look something like this, like it has the confirmation numbers, it can have letters, whatever the case may be. You can edit this section, and actually, I probably would recommend you add and then put some notes in here. So if it's for a grant, put the name of the grant. You can put the year, possibly, maybe you want to go ahead and put the time frame. So this, let's just say this is from like June to, 3 to 4 months. So the description, this can be added. Account. So if this is an income transaction, it is this account is already going to be filled in for you. So this is saying that this deposit came into the cash on hand account. Once again, this account column is already going to be selected for you. So this is the bank account where that transaction came from. Then here, category. This is where you're going to tell Wave what account this transaction goes to. So if it's an income transaction, then it should go to an income account. So usually with deposit, so if it's money coming in, it should probably go to a grant, contributions, member services, fees, whatever the case may be. Those are income accounts. So, category, you're going to select the account, and then the amount is already going to be filled in for you. And then once you're okay with everything, you're going to select the check mark, and it's going to turn green, which means that you have reviewed it and you're okay with it. Also, in this action section, you can upload a receipt, you can upload documents, you can even edit more detail. So, you can even, put even more notes if you want to. So over here in notes, you can put, since this is a grant, you can even put more detail like grant, put the period again. You can put, I don't know, for, I don't know, kids program, X and X and X program director is responsible. You can put different things. Let's see here. And then you're going to hit save. So let's look at a transaction for an expense. So this line here, programming supplies, this is for an expense. So say for instance, if you went to Walmart to purchase these items, it's actually going to say Walmart. If I Walmart, and it'll probably have like the store number. However, once again, you will want to change just the description so you know what this transaction is for. Program supplies, put some type of description in there. Once again, this is going to be filled out. This is what the bank is going to have. And once again, sometimes it looks kind of odd, but you can overwrite that and then put in a description that is useful for your organization. Once again, the account column is going to be filled out for you. Once again, this is the bank account or credit card this transaction hit to. And then categories, this is where you're going to tell Wave if it's an expense transaction. So this is money going out. What expense account does this transaction go to? And I've already selected groceries. The amount is here, 150. You're going to hit the green, you're going to hit the check mark. It's going to turn green, and then you're good to go. Once again, you can upload a receipt. You can also put in some more details if you want to here in this section. So once again, what I did here, I just went to the drop down box. I can upload the receipt or I can add more details to the transaction. I feel the more details you enter, the better. Remember, with grant reporting, a lot of grants ask you to submit a report. So if you're able to put more descriptions here, more description in the description column field, I should say, and even the notes, it will be easier for you to go back and track what transactions went to what grants. So this is the transaction section. So once again, this section here is where all of the bank and credit card transactions are going to come through. You're going to enter a description. You're going to enter a category telling Wave what income or what expense this transaction goes to. And then once you review, you're going to hit the check mark. It's going to turn green. You can decide to upload documents if you want to regarding that transaction. You can also edit more details. So this is the transaction section. Now let's go to the reconciliation. Reconciliation is always done at the end of the month. So for instance, if you're using Chase, Chase is going to send you your bank statement, either by email, like a notification saying, okay, your bank statement is ready to be reviewed, or they may send it to you in email. And what you're going to do, you're going to come here, reconciliation, you're going to get started. You're going to take that bank statement and enter the ending balance in Wave and then also the ending date. So most banks, their period runs from the first to the last day of the month, or the first or to the last business day. So make sure you understand your statement. You're going to enter that ending balance, and Wave is comparing. So Wave is saying if the bank ending balance is $1,000, does Wave say the same thing? If it does, great. If not, you have to go back and see what transactions are missing. I'm going to give you a tip. Before you reconcile, you want to make sure all of these transactions have a green check mark. If they do not have a green check mark, this can throw your reconciliation off. So for instance, if you're performing February's bank statement, and if it's off $100, it could be because this transaction here, as you see, is no longer green. Once you mark it green, it's going to be included in the reconciliation. So very important that you review all of these transactions and they are marked green. So once again, reconciliation, it's important because it is another step to ensure your financial statements are correct. It's making sure that whatever the bank has, you also have in your accounting software. Now, let's go to chart of accounts. Chart of accounts is the list of categories that are used where you tell Wave where the transactions go. I call them buckets. These are different buckets. So, you're going to either say, okay, it's income, it's expense, it's a credit card payment, whatever the case may be. So, quick accounting class. So, assets or Items the nonprofit owns outright. So that's the bank accounts. That's money owed from customers. Liabilities. This is money that the nonprofit owes someone else. So that's credit card, that's payment to vendors. Income, that's grants, that's donations, that's if you're selling t-shirts, that's income. Expenses, that is money going out. So type of things like that, that's salary, that's supplies, professional services, expenses. Equity for you since you're starting off, don't have to worry about that right now for equity. But as your nonprofit grows, you'll probably have more equity accounts. So that's just a quick overview of chart of accounts on that section. Then in the banking section, this is where when you connect your bank accounts, you'll be able to see those accounts here. Since I don't have anything, this is what it's asking me. So once you actually select, this is what you should see. And you just, if it's Chase, once again, you're going to select Chase. You have to log in. And then you have to tell Wave, okay, I want to import transactions as of this certain date. Then let's go to reports. So this is why accounting software is so useful because it provides reports. So for most grants, most even donors, they want to see reports. So the first section is financial statements. So you have your profit and loss, you have your balance sheet. I wouldn't necessarily recommend the cash flow, but really focus on the profit and loss and the balance sheet. So if we go to the profit and loss, so in the nonprofit sector, the profit and loss is called the statement of activity. So you may hear that term. Once again, it's statement of activity. So, but it's profit and loss is still the same. Profit and loss is used when you're usually talking about small businesses, but still the same. So profit and loss here, the date range. So as you have more data in Wave, you can run it for multiple months or 1 month. Report type, we talked about this doing like the accrual or cash basis. And then here, I like this section that gives you a short overview, the income minus expenses and what's the net profit. And what Wave does, this is just a summary, a short summary. If you want to see the details, which is all the accounts, you're going to hit this details button right here next to summary. And details is going to show you the individual accounts. So you see here you have donations for 100, grants for 500. Then we're going to go down. You're going to see operating expenses. You're going to see groceries, 150, professional services. So just a simple profit and loss statement. You can export this file as a PDF or CSV. So CSV will download to Excel. But remember, a lot of people don't realize this. Once you download a CSV to Excel, and if you want to format that CSV, it's recommended that you save it as an Excel file. So you actually have to resave it as an Excel file. So I'm going to go to CSV and I'll just show you. So if you see here on the left hand side at the bottom where where I'm circling, it says CSV. So CSV is not an Excel format just yet. But say for instance, you're going to send this over to CICF to apply for a loan. I would probably recommend you do some, editing, maybe, what I call making it pretty. Let's hit bold here. I'm going to use Mrs. Washington's nonprofit. I think. And I'm going to make it bold, just, making it look pretty. I'll go ahead and take this out, make this look pretty. As you can see, I'm going to just make it look professional. Make sure that whoever's reviewing the app Grant application can find everything. So as you can see, I've bolded some things, I've changed some things. So remember, this is still a CSV file. So in order to save this format, like making sure it's still bold and nice and pretty, you're going to go to File, you're going to go to Save As, and if you see here, it says CSV. You're going to hit that drop box and you're going to save it as Excel workbook. And you're going to name it. You can put the organization's name and put profit and loss. This is January to February 2022 and hit save. So once again, you want to make sure that you save this document as an Excel workbook and hit save. So let's go back over to Wave. Let's go to the balance sheet. So the balance sheet gives you a snapshot of what the organization owns and then what they owe. So in the nonprofit sector, the balance sheet is called the statement of financial position. So it gives you an overview once again at the top. You can also change the period. It also gives you the report type, accrual versus cash base. I think for many of you, you're probably right now on cash base, but you can go ahead and keep it on accrual. What I like about Wave, you see how it says accrual, it has paid and unpaid. So go ahead and just keep it on accrual. And the balance sheet, it will list assets that the nonprofit owns. So these are assets. This is what the nonprofit actually owns outright. The liabilities, this is money that is owed to someone else. And then if there's any equity. And once again, you can download as a CSV or a PDF. You can also see the details, which means like you can see the individual accounts. So let's go back to the back to the report. You can also, you can look at account balances, the trial balance, and then also I recommend looking at the general ledger once in a while, just going through the transactions, looking to see what's coming through. It's just another report where you can get more familiar with the finances. So account transactions has all accounts. So this is listing all of the accounts. You can select the date range, the report type, and then also any contacts. You can also download this as a CSV or PDF file. So right now, this account transaction report is listing all the all the accounts that have a transaction. So hopefully this video is helpful. It gives you an overview of what Wave is. I know once you start working in it, there's questions. So, feel free to reach out to us. Also, contact Wave. I've heard good things about their customer service. There's also tutorials on YouTube. So once again, in Wave, you have the dashboard, just gives you a quick overview of what's going on with your organization. The accounting section, this is where you're going to go in transactions. This is a very, very important section. You definitely want to make sure you're coding the transactions. And when we say coding or categorizing, we mean you're going in and you're selecting what account those transactions should hit, and you're going to select the check mark and it's going to turn green. And then at the end of the month, you're going to perform a bank and credit card reconciliation. Very important to start doing reconciliations. The chart of accounts, if you need to add an account or remove an account, you're going to do that here. Reports, this is where you can run a profit and loss statement, a balance sheet, also look at accounts, look at the general ledger. So hopefully this information is helpful. Once again, reach out to us if you do have help. Like I said, I've heard they have good customer service. Definitely check it out. And you'll get to a point where, you know what, Wave, you'll outgrow Wave, which is what you want to do. Wave, as you can see, is free for a reason. It's limited, but as you grow, as you start to add staff members, you receive more grant, you're going to need a different type of reporting. So that's where you can actually move on up to QuickBooks. And if you decide to move up to QuickBooks, make sure you check out TechSoup. So TechSoup, I am going to do that now and pull that up so everyone can bookmark. If I can type TechSoup offers technology to nonprofits at a great discount. So when you're ready for QuickBooks or you just want to go ahead and go with QuickBooks, go here and sign up here. So once again, hopefully you find this information helpful and reach out to us with any questions. Take care.